As we all know, my heart is so, love is so far away. Don't you know how I wanna feel deeper? I could never know how you grow, all these days are killing me. Now I see deep in me insanity does unfold. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. As we all know, my heart is so, love is so far away. Don't you know how I wanna feel deeper? I could never know how you grow, all these days are killing me. Feel like this, read like this, I just wanna live, that's all. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper.
However you come to the gold-covered bridge that leads to Hell, you may find it guarded by a giantess. She will ask your name, she will ask your lineage, she will ask your business. The Northmen tell of the warrior woman Brynhild, who leapt into fire and rode to Hell to join her slain love Sigurd, and is challenged by the giantess.
Fighting our way across, we run into another locked gate before finally confronting Hela. A lore stone of one of Druth's stories of the Northmen and their gods properly frames the context in Senua's mind and her quest. You can also find another vision of Senua's mother, Galena, in this area. This one sheds more light on Senua's familial dynamic. The mother, also sharing that same gift, very loving, very caring, recognizes how special her child is, how much love and attention her child needs, and encourages them to embrace all of themselves, not be scared of them. And the other, her father, Zinbel, a druid, who's ashamed and scared, one who fears the darkness within them, one who wishes to stamp it out through solitude and isolation and punishment.
It's Hela.
Yes, the source of the darkness. It's coming. This is your moment.
I'm sorry. I can't watch this.
What are you doing? You're showing weakness. You're not a warrior. You're a disgrace. The gods will punish you for this. Pick up the sword. Pick it up. Fight the darkness. Fight it. Get up. Get up. Get up and fight.
At the final gate to Helheim, you encounter the giantess Hela. Even your shadow encourages you. This is your moment, it says, as you crumble before her in fear and weakness. However, in one blow, you are overcome, your sword broken, your mind shattered. You fall into complete darkness.
You failed the gods. You're pathetic. Rotten. Cursed. What were you thinking? Did you really think you could win? How stupid can you be?
So stupid.
Everyone hates her. She's cursed.
The shadow hates.
Look at you. A warrior. Worthless. Weak. Pathetic. Go on. Feel sorry for yourself, because there's no one left to do that for you.
The next scene provides a lot more context to the internal struggle in Senua's head. The male demeaning voice, the shadow, admonishing her for failing, how pathetic she is, how weak she is, how she has no chance at overcoming this. Even the Furies, the other random voices in her head, agree. Tell her that the reason the shadow is here because of how stupid she is, how much she has failed. Senua awakens the next day with no goal, no purpose, no reason for existing. Unable to save Dillian, unable to overcome her darkness, she's willing to just rot, lay there and die. After a time, though, you hear a familiar voice.
Don't give up. Not like this.
It's not real. It is real. It's a trick. Don't trust it. Maybe you're already dead. Who are you?
Do you still believe in me, Senua?
No, it's not. It's a trick. She knows it's a trick. He's already dead. He might be here. He can't be here. It's impossible.
The loving voice of Dillian calling to you, reassuring you, encouraging you to continue on. There are a couple more scenes which provide a lot more information on Senua's life growing up and how that life changed when she met Dillian.
Before she first met him, she was not in a good place. Just a teenager, but not like the others. Barely functioning, she rarely left the house. Her father's in-bell made sure of that. Only occasionally did she venture out on her own, collecting firewood and herbs. Errands out in the Orkney Plains. That was her world. Like this one. Barren and lonely. Getting stronger. The lone figure of a boy. Swordplay under the shade of a tree. She remembers the first time she saw him. To her young eyes, he moved as if dancing. And the world danced with him. The gloom lifted. For the first time in years, she felt a ray of hope.
The light. Follow the light. No. It's a trick.
It's an illusion.
It's not real. Do you really think it's real?
You want to believe it's real, but it's a trick. You're deluded. Where are you going?
Where is she going?
What is she following?
You won't even fight. It's just deception.
How does he so effortlessly court the world and bliss? If only she could do the same. See the world through eyes anew. And dance with it, just like he does.
What's your name?
Senua.
I haven't seen you before.
I don't leave home much.
Oh.
The next scene beautifully encapsulates the juxtaposition between Senua's reality before and after meeting Dillian. How from her internal darkness came this external light. How he shed color into her world. How he opened her eyes to the beauty of things outside of her room that her father had locked her in. Everything changed the moment she encountered Dillian. And it's beautifully represented in the way the color palette shifts, how her head opens up, how she's enthralled with everything.
You can't put it into words. That moment when you look into the eyes of the one who's supposed to reassure you, make you feel safe. It only takes an instant. Fear swallows you before you have a chance to make sense of it. And darkness becomes a part of who you are.
You killed him.
But her world changed the day the Northmen took him from her. Senua knows that there's no going back to how things were. That there's nothing to go back to at all.
Stay still, stay quiet, hide, don't tell her.
Their gods can see into your mind. They will use this power to destroy you.
They won't stop me. I can still feel him.
Whatever's left of him, they will never let him go.
I'm not gonna let him rot here.
You're the one rotting here.
Leave me alone.
You will die here.
No.
And all your suffering will have been for nothing.
Shut up!
Unfortunately, this game is called Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. And this all turns out to, as we expected, be a lie. Moving into the tree itself, we don't find Dillian. We find the legendary blade, Grammar. Senua is faced with 4 challenges, each representing 4 distinct parts of her psyche, and a challenge she had to overcome growing up. These 4 challenges represent the trials of Odin from Druth's tale. Completing each one of these gives you a shard. 4 of those shards are required in order to reforge the blade.
She started something.
What's happening?
Senua, imagine a sword that can slay gods.
Drew?
Its name is Grammar. It was forged by the god of all Northmen, Odin, and gifted to Sigmund, a great warrior.
I need this sword. It's important. Can you help me?
The sword appears whole, but it is an illusion. It shattered into shards long ago. It is said a great warrior can reforge Grammar by answering the trials of Odin, one for each shard.
4 challenges, 4 trials, each a distinct part of her psyche. The first, a tower trapped in time, 2 visions of the same place, past and present intersecting. Masks throughout the area allow you to peer through time, remember how things used to be, remember the truth of things, chasing after Dillian. The Furies explain how Dillian led you to step away from thinking of the world as black and white, presenting her the ability to see further, peer through the cracks, and see the worlds of color stretching out.
Years had passed since she left her father.
She is pure.
She trained hard alongside her friend, Dillian. She saw things no one else could. Patterns, shapes, movement. An intuition that made her an exceptional warrior.
Your curse has claimed Dillian.
Friendship turned to love.
Poor Dillian.
But the shadow of darkness never let her go, and she was caught between 2 worlds. That of Zinbel and her past, and Dillian, her future.
Be quick.
Dillian never much cared for the underworld, and looked dimly upon the druids, like her father, Zinbel. I guess he took after his father, a chieftain who believed nothing he couldn't see. And he happened to be blind. She felt safe in Dillian's arms, learned to see the world through his eyes. And slowly, the darkness that had bound her so tightly began to unravel.
Building upon the foundation of her dark past, meeting Dillian and growing into a world of color, both parts are necessary in order to climb to the top of the tower. Once we find Dillian at the top of the tower, we claim that shard. The second challenge represents the overwhelming and suffocating darkness surrounding Senua, in this case represented visually. Quite literally, in this challenge, you can't see anything. Once again, Dillian is our guide. His voice the only thing you have to cling to push forward.
She could spend hours, days even, trapped within herself, in the dark.
Unable to rely on our own senses, unable to trust ourselves in the way we perceive the world objectively, we're instead forced to rely upon Dillian and his voice to guide us through. And that voice, indeed, guides us successfully to the end.
And when it finally let her go, she could be anywhere, with no memory of how she got there.
When it comes for me, I have no power over it.
But here, for the first time, someone was there to help.
But I heard your voice.
The hardest battles are fought in the mind. And even though there are unseen and unknowable horrors awaiting Senua throughout that challenge, the reminder of her darkness always lurking, she can overcome by clinging to those she loves, by embracing all of her senses and not being trapped. The third trial. Upon entering this area, the Furies, the voices in your head, immediately identify that something is wrong. This place is wrong. The air feels wrong. This represents the time period almost immediately before Senua fled into the wilds.
The stench of rot. She can almost taste it. Do you smell it? No. Don't worry. Not everyone can. It was a warm spring day when she went to the river with Dillian and the others. But the water... She could taste the rot. But no one else could. She knew something was wrong. Something sinister. She begged them to leave, but they just laughed at her. But soon enough, as the bodies piled up, no one was laughing. And they knew that she was not like them.
Throughout the level, you push through the plague. You see the tattered remains of houses as you push past them, families ripped apart by this plague. It's implied that the source of the rot was the massacred bodies of the village the Northmen visited before finding Senua's own. Those sacrificed and desiccated corpses tainting the water downstream.
Senua! Come to me!
You come to a locked door with Dillian behind it, encouraging you to come find him. Upon trying to open the door, you're overwhelmed by a fiery amalgam of voices, anger, fear, frustration, hatred, pain, a physical representation of the villagers' resentment and hatred towards you, reborn. Senua must run away from this unstoppable horror. Staying in line of sight will cause you to burn. You must run around the house trying to find runes to match and open the door. Running around lost and aimless, running around with no signs to guide you, no voices to lead you, alone once again. This trial has you come to terms with Senua's own guilt in bringing the plague to Dillian's village, with him reassuring her that it wasn't her fault.
What happened?
They're blaming me for the plague. They say that I'm cursed. What if they're right?
How would they know such a thing? Are they gods? None of us are. They're just people. Good people, but they're scared. They're afraid of what they can't see. Like children scared of the dark. They make up stories to fill the void. That doesn't make them true.
What if my father was right?
You have to step out of this darkness. Let them see who you really are, like I have. You're not a monster.
The fourth and final trial has you enter into a dark cave, with only the screaming voice of Dillian guiding you on. With a single torch in hand, you enter. Slowly following Dillian's screaming voice, you ignite deeper and deeper sconces to help provide light on your journey. At the end, you see a door. And you realize that it wasn't Dillian guiding you this whole time, but something else. And this door isn't a normal door, but a portal to a memory.
Father? I'm leaving. I've decided. I think it will be good for me.
It's the darkness. It's speaking through
No,
you.
Dad, it's me. I think I can beat it. In my own way.
I can see the darkness in your eyes, child.
I met a boy.
Boy.
The chieftain's son.
No.
He said he could help me.
It's a trick.
He said I could be normal.
Normal.
Yes.
No boy is going to save you. No one can. When they see the rot growing inside you,
No!
they will turn their back on you. The gods can only fix you through my hand. You're going nowhere.
No.
You will not defy the gods. Come, child, take my hand. Come. Senua.
No! I am leaving!
You cannot escape the darkness. Your curse will make everyone suffer. You will have blood on your hands!
And with that, with all 4 fragments of the legendary sword acquired and newfound confidence, Senua is once again ready to challenge Hela.